In this very short tutorial, I'm going to explain in particular the total effect and indirect effect in mediation analysis. I have made quite a few videos about mediation analysis, but I haven't really explained total effect and indirect effect in particular. So the basic idea for mediation analysis is that you observe that there's a relationship between IV and DV, namely X and Y, and then you try to find a variable, namely M, to explain the relationship. Typically, there are three regressions for mediation analysis. The first one is X and Y. So when you regress Y on X, you'll get the regression coefficient C. And then the second regression is that you're going to regress M on X, you're going to get the regression coefficient A. The third regression is that you're going to regress the Y on X and M. For this regression, you're going to get B and C apostrophe. In terms of total effect and indirect effect is that the total effect equals direct effect plus indirect effect. In particular, the total effect, namely is the C from the first regression. And the C apostrophe is from the third regression. And the A and B from the second and the third regression. So namely, this is the basic idea about, as you can see the total effect, direct effect, and indirect effect. Let's use example to explain this. So this is a hypothetical example and data. So the IV is temperature, DB is cells, and the mediator is need for frozen desserts. So this is a kind of funny example, but it gets the job done. We can use it to explain the mediation analysis. So here's the model. First, that is the X and Y temperature and ice cream store cells. And then we hypothesize that there's a mediator called need for frozen desserts. So namely, when the temperature goes up, people's need for frozen dessert goes up as well, which lead to people to buy more ice cream, lead to the sales in the ice cream store goes up. So that's the basic idea. So we can first regress the total effect, namely X to Y. So here we regress the Y on X, and we got the regression coefficient C, which is the total effect. And then we can do the second regression, and Y on X, we get the A, and Y on X and N, we got the B and C apostrophe. So as you can see that, we can use this example to explain the total effect, indirect effect, and direct effect. Let's shift to SPSS. I'm going to use a data example to explain that. This is the hypothetical data that I simulate using R. So this is the X, namely the temperature. The M is the need for frozen dessert, and the Y is the number of ice cream sold at that store. So we can just do a regression without even without using the SPSS. So we can click the first regression, which is the Y is dependent variable and X is the independent variable, and click OK. And we can see that the regression coefficient, namely the C, is 0.10. So this is the first regression, and we can do the second regression. So regression, and the second regression that we replace the Y with the M, and we click OK. So this is second regression, namely the regression coefficient of the A, namely the A pass. And now we can do the final regression. The N should be shift to the independent variable, and the dependent variable is again the Y, and we click OK. So this is the third regression. So this is the C apostrophe, and this is the B. So remember again earlier we talked about that the indirect effect is A times B, and the direct effect is C apostrophe, and the total effect is C. So remind you. So we can actually, based on the output from the SPSS, we can manually calculate the indirect effect. We can actually use a calculator to just calculate the indirect effect, namely the A times B. So the A is from the second regression and the B is from the third regression. So the B here is 2.932 and the A here is from the last regression is 0.033, 0.033. So this is the indirect effect, namely A times B. And we can add with the C apostrophe, namely the C in the, remember the C apostrophe is from the third regression, namely 0.002. So this is the output 0.098. So this is roughly equal to the total effect, but not exactly the same. So remember earlier, the total effect is 0.10. So these two numbers are close, but not the same. So this is we just manually do all the three regression by using SPSS. We know that SPSS also have a macro called process. We can also do that to double check everything. So let's just analyze regression user process. So here we put the X as X, N as mediator, and Y as Y, and we choose the model 4, and we click run. So here is that one thing I want to remind you is that in the process, it doesn't generate or doesn't take the analysis the first regression, namely the total effect. So here you can see that there's the first part of output is the second regression. Actually, the dependent variable is M, and that and then the X is X. Yes, it's namely the second regression model we discussed earlier. So this is the M and X. So this is the first output in the process. So again, the process doesn't generate the output for the first regression. So let's go back to the process output. So the second part is the third regression model. Namely, is this model. So it's Y, X, and M. And so the regression coefficient there is C apostrophe and B. So this is the C apostrophe, this is the B. And as we just did the manual calculation, so this is the indirect effect here, 0.0975. The one we calculate 0.0987, they are not exactly the same because they are different routing numbers. So I guess that the process using different number, this model we can calculate that. So these two numbers are not exactly the same. So this is the indirect effect, namely A times B. And some people might be confused the direct effect here, or X on Y. So this is C apostrophe. This is not the C. Namely, this is the C from the third regression. You can see that 0.0023 and 0.0023, that's exactly the same number. So that means that this direct effect of X on Y actually is X just one of the independent variable, and there's another independent variable in the regression is M. So this is the C apostrophe, namely this is the what? The direct effect. So this is direct effect. So this is the direct effect here. And we calculate the indirect effect, and this is the direct effect, C apostrophe in the third regression. And the process doesn't generate a total effect in the output. But you can just manually use the menu from SPSS to do that, or whatever software you are using to do to calculate the total effect by yourself. I think that's it. In this tutorial I explained what is total effect, what is direct effect, what's indirect effect, and also used example in the SPSS to demonstrate what they are. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and I'm more than happy to answer the questions you might have.